Hello everybody, with another episode of the lovely Binding of Isaac Repentance. We are gonna do a Lost run because I'm feeling honestly insane today, so why not? And deal with the devil right off the bat. That is pretty tasty. So we are doing normal Lost just to sort of maybe get my groove back or play a little better than usual. But the Lost run, honestly, is a pretty gosh darn good one. This was at the point where I was basically doing tons of honestly beautiful runs. Keep that in mind. Most likely, I did get the comment back, is when I will be doing these lives again. And that is a very good question. Very, very good question. Most likely right after Christmas. At that point, I've tried this about 2 weeks. And it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great. It's fantastic. Wrap me in plastic. But I just want to see where I'm going to do a real big mixture of both, if I'm going to be honest with you. And then just take it from there. We got Hushy. So that's basically telling me to shut up. So just in case, if you did like how they were previously, here you go. So, with the Lost, this is a very big symbol on, at the point of this recording, we're doing a lot of beautiful, strong runs. And it's really at the point where I really want to get everything done by the end of the year. And I don't think I'll be able to do that. And I feel like personally for me, it's sort of a giving up factor where I feel like if I give up, then I won't really persuade it. And like I said, I do have a few cards up my sleeve that could basically see how the channel is doing. Where I don't really want to be that guy that just focuses on Isaac. Okay? Now, I'm really debating when I do different games, I am virtually going to switch it up. So I've been getting this comment a lot, and this will probably be the last video that I talk about it. The seed is 6N7G2TRN. Wow, that was perfect timing. Thank you, past me. Is what is going to happen with Isaac next year? Because really my main goal was to virtually only do this for a year. And then taking it from there. If I'm going to be honest, Isaac isn't going anywhere. That is rule number one. So this is like Recapville. Now also, another question is, well, why do you talk about Twitch a lot? I'm not one of your Twitch followers. I don't want to be. Whatever you have it, I completely understand, and you're absolutely right. When I'm editing these videos or anything in far between, you're right. I do talk about Twitch a little too much. I don't want to. At one point, I did really want to merge the two, and we're all part of the Wilde Brigade right now. Where if you're subscribed via for the giveaways, if you actually watch Isaac, I do apologize. But you're absolutely right. I am going to sort of not talk about it every episode, even if it's just for a brief second, where this is very more, I don't want to use the word professional, but it's very different Twitch-wise, where I'm still adapting, if you will, where virtually speaking, I give myself a nice, lovely topic, and I roll with it. I really roll with it. And with Twitch, it's just like, hey, let's go. Also, don't you love that flip-flapping pill there? Because it literally just killed... like, it took some of my range, and then it destroyed my health. So good. So good. But yes, no, you're absolutely right. I do listen to all the comments right now, and just taking it from there. Where I'm very hard on YouTube. Where just because I got better than I did before does not mean that I'm going to get good every single time. And the funny thing is, I don't have an end goal for YouTube. I really don't, and I feel like that is going to change as well, where once I set a goal to myself, people understand really what's going on, because it's very easy for me to stay focused, okay? Where if I have a goal in mind, I'm gonna push forward to the goal no matter what, and take it from there. Okay, so I like Lost. I actually honestly love Lost more than any other character in a weird way, because I think Lost is very relatable. I think Lost is a lot of people's final challenge in this game. I truly do. But there is going to be a lot of I want to feel like Judas once in a while, or I want to feel like Maggie, where 9 times out of 10 when you play those characters, you gotta win. And now, you know, I love how I just ran right into that tear shot. Now that I ran right into that tear shot, I can get good now, right? No, now that I have goals, that it's one of those things where I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, where I'm just like, well, I want to wait until next year or whatever. It just keeps the schedule clean. Now, with this, especially a few games that I had on the docket, before for YouTube, I really had to rechange my evaluation, and I prefer that. I generally prefer that, and sometimes you just gotta look at yourself, and you're just like, wow, I don't want to do this, or whatnot, where, take for example, where I try new games several dozen times a year. And one game, literally, we're doing right now on Twitch, and that's Skyrim. Skyrim is a totally different game of all time that I've ever played. We're getting people in that are super supportive, and it's weird to me, where I'm just like, oh, well, this doesn't seem like my type of game, and it's a very good game. I get lost in it, and I'm very happy with it. So, with Twitch, there's gonna be, or excuse me, with YouTube, there is no really giving up option. The only giving up option is when we hit the Isaac goal. That would be a crucial point. At this point, I'm gonna say maybe it's gonna be like episode 650. At this point, I truly feel like that, because it's not the end per se, but there's so much time and effort that goes into it, and it's like a routine where now I'm doing double time, and you know, maybe is this the most stressful series? Yes, that I've ever done consistently. Because think about it, and I don't think people do, where on Twitch, literally, your Twitch stream is 3 runs of Isaac. 3 runs, that's it. Back to back, if they're good runs. If they're good runs, you know. But it is very interesting, and it's very like, I don't want to give up, because it's very weird for me. It's extremely weird where I'm like, wow, I'm being the best me that I could possibly be ever. And it's like, I feel like I'm giving up on myself, you know? Where, like, I will never ever say the Binding of Isaac, you know, will define me. Like, I know people enjoy the runs, but like I said, there's better content creators out there that do this game, and I did it for a goal of mine. And deep down, I feel like I failed at everything in life, and I'm like, well, I could do a game. I could virtually do the Binding of Isaac, right? So that's why I am being open and honest, where I'm just like, hey, I don't know much about YouTube. I really don't. It's a total game changer for me, where I do like the atmosphere. I really do like the atmosphere for sure. So this run, we have Little Hushy, Mom's Pearl, Rune Bag, Torn Photo, Sacrificial Dagger, and nothing. And Blue Map. Just a recap, just in case if you're listening, because that was another comment. Some CCs don't work on YouTube, so they were just like, hey, I like to listen to you via, you know, background noise. Can you tell me once in a while on what's going on? I will definitely try to. I will definitely try to. Where it's very funny to me. And it's very, very funny to me that I want to look at this year episodes to next year. And that's also a theory where I promised myself one thing and one thing alone, where if I magically created a YouTube channel with original content, I would make one promise to myself, is I would always keep my first ever video that I ever did. And it's true, I did. I have it since 2017. And it reminds myself on where I came from. Where my camera was bad, my microphone, I used my headset microphone, where I'm just like, oh my god, like I could almost consistently do this a lot. And I always get people daily who's just like, wow, I love your live stream. Why don't you do live stream permanently? And it's really funny to me, because it's one of those things where I simply tell people this: I did it. I did it for 1 year. I did streaming every single day. And it wasn't fun. It's like forcing a poo. You know, you gotta do it because you want a nice schedule, but sometimes you push and push and push and blood comes out. And virtually speaking, I don't want poopy blood anymore. I had that. Remember that was one of my rants on an Isaac video earlier this year. This year was a crazy year, and we'll get to that. We will get to that for sure. This episode is coming out December 23rd, and it's another day of Hanukkah, and it's 2 days till Christmas, and happy Kwanzaa as well. But I can't wait until I do my recap episode. I generally, sincerely can't, because it's like memory lane, if that makes sense, where it's just like, wow, you know, did you make or break this year? Where it was a very interesting year. It was a very, very interesting year. And for once, one of my goals is actually coming to fruition. Yeah, it's true. It's true. One of my goals is coming to fruition. And it has nothing to do with YouTube. It has nothing to do with Twitch or whatever I do. I'm getting myself mentally well. And oh my god, it is something that...
Full health.
It's not that I wish that I waited on, because I had all the action. But the process that I had to go through was very tedious. And it was like a me journey, where I'm like, oh man, you know, and it's great. It's a learning lesson where, you know, I saw this video, or a TikTok, if you will. I didn't watch it, but I watched it on Instagram Reels because I don't like TikTok, even though I have it. Check out my thirst trap videos on TikTok, Mr. Joe Wilde. Follow the link in the comments down below. It's totally, I'll blind your eyes because it's funny to me. It's funny to me. Where I'm like, wow, you know, I could officially say I am 1 week happy. And that sounds really sad. That generally sounds really, really sad. But it's totally true. I'm 1 week happy where I don't sugarcoat things, where I'm like, yep, I am here now. I don't really want to go back to... I don't want to use the word miserable self. I really don't, because that sounds really horrible, where I'm like, wow, I hate myself today. But I did. I really did. I didn't like that side of me. And, you know, I'm so glad that I'm at the point where I'm like, hey, I'm getting better. I'm focusing on me. I'm very grateful. Where that was my biggest thing. That was my biggest thing, and you know, it sounds stupid. It sounds really stupid, but my 3 biggest things were on number 3 was get 250 subs on YouTube by any means necessary. That happened. Be better on media, because I don't... You shouldn't care what I post, but apparently people enjoy when I post, so I don't know. And then lastly is be a thirst trap. It's true. No. Is get mentally better. And that took a really long time, and I'm not even like 70% there, but I'm so much closer than what I ever was. And that's a step. But as I was saying, there was a video that I saw that a guy that has his life together, like really doing well, you know, good looking, and he's just like, oh, well, there's 7 billion reasons on not to give up, and I get it. I don't know his story, nor do I care, but there was a Stitch, I believe it was called, a Stitch, not Lilo and Stitch, but they stitched it, and the girl's like crying, and she's like, well, what if you can't find a reason? And it was one of those videos where I didn't know if it was real or not. And that's why I hate online a little bit, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, why should I be honest? And then people are lying straight to my face. I don't understand this. Like, what is the crutch about lying? And you know, that's why I don't believe it, where I'm like, everything is clickbait. Clickbait. And it's not like, it's coming to a really big point where I don't want to follow the crowd, but it's also one of those things, like, next year, I'm totally going to be swallowing my pride more and more. Absolutely. I'm just going to say F it a lot of the times, and I'll be like, okay, let's see how this works. You know, but I just don't know. Where I have cried several times via live recordings. I have. I'm not afraid to admit it, but one thing that I will say is if you go watch my Horizon Forbidden West Let's Play, a very dry Let's Play, and I'm very open and honest with that, where it was a little dry, and there was a lot that happened to it, absolutely. There was an episode where a character dies, spoiler alert. And it was a great character. It sets up for a very good sequel. And it was a big funeral scene. And I just start crying. Like, I just start crying midway. Like, I didn't edit that. I didn't edit that, but it was a very hard time in my life. I was dealing with somebody dying where I'm like, instinctively, like, if I need to cry, I cry as a man, as an alpha. But it's one of those things as well where when I cry, I hate when people take pity on me. I hate it. It's one of the worst things that you could ever do to me. And subconsciously, with my mental health, I always feel like somebody is taking pity on me. And, it sucks. It sucks to feel like, oh, you know, it's that kid. It's a really bad mental habit where I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you here? What the heck? And that was a big problem. That was a really big problem. But I swallowed my pride because one person I cared very deeply, they came in my life, and they told me straight up, it's support. I don't like it when you turn down support. It upsets me. And that's a very good guilt trip for me. Like, because my thing is I don't want to upset other people. What I go through is, you know, certain things. I don't want to get you attracted to it or whatever. And I'm a man of my word, and I'm like, okay, if it upsets you, I apologize. And this was also a crucial moment. I don't know what is better, A+ or cancer, by the way. But yeah, I ever since then, I've only had one fault where I'm just like, I can't accept the support. Here you go. And it's interesting. It's interesting because, you know, I'm only a few months in of that where mentally I'm just like, oh, I can't do it, or, you know, I'm in a mental state where I'm hard on myself and I just can't do it. But I have been getting a lot better in progress. Rome wasn't built in a day. And practice doesn't make perfect. You could struggle with something in your life where, for example, for me, for the longest time, it is life. Where it's just like, okay, cool. Like, there was a recent study where, okay, if you're a therapist and, you know, you're talking to some people or you're talking to your friend and they're just like, well, what brings you down? You know, are you going to end it all? Be like, yes. Okay, well, then how are you going to do it? Where it's just like, well, you know, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, where I'm just like, I was there. I was there where I'm like, I had everything and nothing to lose. Where I'm just like, okay, cool. So it's one of those things where, for me, I totally believe I gotta take one day at a time. Progress goes a long way. You know, when I had a bulking phase, you know, you didn't gain muscle right off the flippin' bat, you know. And, you know, people are going to the gym and they're like, I'm gonna drop 50 pounds in a week, man. Where for me personally, I make realistic goals. But the caveat of that is, I'm gonna be really honest with you, if you make realistic goals and you don't even do those goals, you feel like a bigger failure than you even started. At least for me. At least for me. And that was a very bad point a few years ago where I'm like, I can't even do this. You know, I can't do the simplest things. Like, I can't even get up in the morning and say, hey, good job. Because mentally I'm just like, good job for what? You know, who cares? And that is my mindset where I'm like, who cares? You know, and you know, you brush yourself off, and it's a struggle. I'm very honest where I'm just like, yes, it was a struggle for me, where certain things get under my skin, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't do this at all. And that's okay. That's okay, because, you know, I realize certain things that I did aren't healthy for me, and what's healthy for me may not be healthy for you. And you know, it's very, very interesting, where I would say more than ever I've changed on what makes me more comfortable. And that sounds really, really interesting, but it's, or maybe it doesn't, because with growth could come change, and vice versa, where I'm just like, I'm not changing for anybody else. You know, I change for me, where I'm just like, I didn't like this, or I don't like how my content is produced, or, you know, there's certain times where you gotta look yourself in the mirror and you're just like, I don't like this. I don't like this. And it's never too late. It's never too late at all. You know, people use that as a crutch, and I completely understand that. I was there, where I'm just like, you could make up a billion reasons not to do something, but in reality, you only need one. In reality, you only need one reason to do something, and it's the motivation. It's why are you doing it? To do it. And at the end of the day, I don't do it. I don't do this for anybody. And that sounds really bad. It really does, where I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for me. And the only way I'm gonna know if you don't like it is if you tell me. But if you don't tell me, then, you know, that's on your own risk. And that's how I mentally think, where I'm just like, it's not that I don't care. Of course I care. If like, there's a difference. There's a very big difference on caring and not caring. But, you know, I didn't give up on me, where via everything, and, you know, that's the best way of putting it, where you could easily quit, way easier than not. And I think that's a very reasonable point. You know, you could think about, you know, why are you doing something? Why are you still here, for example? I use that one a lot, because, you know, it's more relatable for me. But I never thought once in my pea-sized brain, where I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna do this, or I'm not gonna do this for someone else. Where I'm just like, nope, no, I'm gonna do this for me. And sometimes it's a very selfish thing. People will tell you, oh my god, you're focusing on you. You should feel horrible about yourself. It's true. It's true. Be like, why are you doing this? I don't like the way that you look now, or I don't like the way that you act. That's a good one. Or you changed, bro. You really changed. And it's funny. It's funny, because it's just like, for me at least, I would have asked if your opinion mattered. And in reality, it doesn't. And no matter what you do, don't, like, this is one thing. One thing I learned very recently. It's okay to take a pause. It really, if you don't take a pause or a breath and think about the consequences or the actions on why you're doing something, it may be good in for a second, and that's all it takes. It takes action. But then you're just like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I generally doing this? If I do this, is it worth it? And that saved me a lot of headaches in the past, and trust me, I suffer from a lot of headaches, which is not fun at all. But you know, the little voice inside your head, or maybe you're crazy like I am, I don't know. But do whatever makes you happy. It's a simple, but just don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid. Where another thing that I personally learned is if you don't know if you like something, the only way you're gonna find out is trying it. And that sounds really like, no duh, but we're creatures of habit, okay? And for me, if I didn't do it in the first place, why would I do it again? You know, so it's funny that people are like, oh, come on, do it, you know. And then I'm like, oh, well, why don't you do this that you've always wanted to do? Oh, no, man, you know, what are you, crazy? I'm like, well, it's the same thing. No, 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 it's not the same thing because you're doing something that I already did, but you're doing something that you did and I didn't do, so I have the right to not do it. I'm like, okay, like that doesn't really make sense to me, because I mean, if I'm asking you to go skydiving, and that's one of your fears, you know, and you're telling me to do something that I don't want to do, you know, isn't it the same thing? No, no, man, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. And, it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting on how things could go and change your outlook. And I'm very honored and I'm very blessed that, you know, like I said, no matter what age you've done something or want to do something, that could change your whole life. You know, yesterday, for an example, whatever reason, my mental state switched. And I was just like, screw it, why not? Why not do this? And it was funny, where I'm like, I always say I want to be a voice actor. I want to be a voice actor. Yeah, I never show the skills that I have, which is funny to me. Like, I don't make TikToks or I don't make Instagram Reels where sometimes I'll do like a cute little voice and I'll be like, ha 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 ha. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, for whatever banal reason, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. And we did it for like 30 minutes. And people were pissing their pants, be like, they were either peeing their pants, peeing their Pampers, or they were just shocked about the skill. Where I'm just like, it's not that I didn't think about it, it's just something that I don't share. And I'm like, well, oh, like that's a me thing. Or I'm like, oh, well, I want to say I do it, but if I don't show off my skill, then how are people supposed to know that I can do it? And it's just like, wow, you know, I don't want to give up and, you know, do this or do X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, and people are totally gonna have different ways of thinking for sure. And I'm trying at this point, by the way, if you're still listening and not watching, I'm trying to get as many items as humanly possible before, because this is one of my best runs possible with the Lost. So right now, during last check, I got the lovely... Perfect, both bad items. And I get Polyphemus, by the way. I get Polyflippin' off a random bomb. Just a heads up. But the last time I got Chemical Peel, Flashlight, Fanny Pack, Golden Ingot, Concussive Tears, Pentagram, BFF, Options, Recycle, Bobby, Polyphemus, and Blood Bombs. So, just in case if you're listening, thank you very much for continuing listening, and I do hope you're enjoying this rant. And I just get Bloody Gust, a very good item as well. So now my fire tears are as big as my eyeball, and I'm just like, oh, this is totally worth it. And we get size tear up, and literally, I don't know if you, like, obviously if you're just listening, you missed it. I almost died. the same frame I used the Fool card, I got another hit of damage. So I virtually could have died right there, and that wasn't really that smart. But hey. And now I get scared, and I decide to donate as much money as possible. And I'm still left with 31 cents. That's a pretty big gap. I mean, what I should have done is buy as many pills as possible, and guess what? That's exactly what Past Me did. So good job, Past Me. Hit my microphone. Future me, present me, come on! And, you know, that's another example where the simplest stuff, by the way, the simplest stuff, like, hitting the microphone on accident. I used to blow way out of proportion. I'm like, ah! Like, what is this? I'm a failure. And I didn't cry on camera over that. But I cried in bed where I'm just like, I can't even do this. Where the growth potential and thinking it out, where I'm like, is this really worth getting upset about? And ultimately, no. Ultimately, no. Because virtually, my mindset is like this, and you gotta understand where I'm coming from. What you do in somebody else's life, they're gonna forget about in like a minute. Nothing you do is really gonna impact them. And it's funny to me that, you know, with asking somebody out, the biggest fear that they have is butterflies in your stomach. Ooh, I have butterflies in my stomach. Why? Why? The fear of rejection. That is why. Where I could do something right now, or say something right now, and people immediately turn me off. Okay. You know, that it doesn't affect me. And I use that as an example where nothing you do majority of the time could impact your life. Nothing. I mean, sure, somebody could be like, hey, I watch all of your videos, you do impact me, blah, 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 blah. And even if you did say it, it's not that I wouldn't believe you, because I'm an idiot and I believe people on the internet. Except when you tell me things live and say I'm cute, then I'll be like, why are you lying to me? Why are you lying to me? Because visually, I don't think I'm cute or attractive, and it's not low self-esteem. It's just, I'm just being honest with myself. That's how I look at life. But the worst that you could do, even a stranger, to say, hello, how are you? Or I like that shirt that you're wearing, or something very simple like that. It won't impact them. But you're saying how you feel, and that's all that should matter. But you're afraid. You're afraid to be like, oh, well, you know, I may not like this, or you fear it that, oh, well, they'll remember me. No, they won't. No, they won't. Rejection happens in a second, but it could feel like an hour. Yeah, it's true. Or days, or be like, oh, you know, I want a relationship with you because you're in my dreams or whatnot. It's crazy. We've all been there. And then you'll be like, oh, no, I haven't. Oh, hey, remember when you had that thing for the Twilight guy? Oh, yeah, but that doesn't count because blah, blah, blah. I'm like, of course it counts. Of course it counts. Oh, but I'll never meet them. You could have. Stop it. Stop it. You're hurting my brain. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Via crush on the internet, crush face to face, virtually, especially now, it's almost the same likelihood. It's almost the same likelihood. And like for me, you know, I was always like, man, Alora from Spyro. Ooh. But I never was like, oh, Alora from Spyro. I love her design, but I fell in love with the character. I fell in love with the voice actress. And I'm like, oh, wow. But it wasn't like, it was this parasocial love that you couldn't get You know, if that makes sense, where I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm in love with a cartoon character. And the meme is, I saw this a lot with Kingdom Hearts, one of my favorite games of all time. This is what Kingdom Hearts did for me, and Sora's in the background, and he's like, I'm just a game. Where it doesn't matter if it's a cartoon, a game, a movie, certain things impact certain people differently. And, you know, just like when I was a gym rat, you know, that impacted me more than different people, where at the point, nobody will say certain things to your face anymore. I don't think they ever would, because it's the fear of them being wrong or them opening your mind, and that's what makes it so easy how brains could be tainted, unfortunately, online. But the factor is, you need a little bit of stubbornness to get ahead, and that's why, personally, for me, that's one reason why I'm pushing so hard, because I want to, and no amount of comments would ever stop me, encourage me in a little bit of way, where it's not that I need to shut out the negativity, because once you push the negativity out of your life, then it'll happen more and more. Yeah, it's true. Where people, human beings, smell. They smell weakness. Where I truly believe that. I very much truly believe that. Where human beings could basically smell the weak. And unfortunately, that's why, you know, for me, a lot of people bullied me, yet a lot of people left me alone. Because I really grew a backbone later on in life, where I'm just like, oh, well, you can't do that now. And it was a problem where I'm like, oh, I didn't like being bullied. I didn't like being picked on. Oh, well, but I don't want to say anything because it's easier, you know, and the fear. And then honestly, some teachers didn't even do anything. So I'm like, well, I gotta take this situation and flip it to a positive. I'm like, oh, well, this is one of my biggest growing experiences of all time, where you need a reason to do something. At least in my opinion. I don't want to say professional opinion, because as far as I know, I'm not your therapist yet. Where I'm just like, okay, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Why? And, you know, it opens your eyes pretty easily. And if you can't answer any of that, why? Because you have to? You don't have to do anything in life. Oh, but bills. That's one of my favorite ones, bills. I'm like, yeah, everybody has bills. And that means that you've given up on yourself and given up on every risk possible. And I get it. Life is scary. Life is very scary. Mental health trauma that I have is scary. Being alive can be scary, but it could also be one of the best things that has ever happened. So, wasn't this a good rant, by the way? Never giving up. I like it. Thank you, John Cena. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. John Cena's theme. Be like, what? Yeah, I make a joke out of it, because I'm a secret closet wrestling fan, as you may or may not know. But not now. Not now. Attitude Era. After that, I stopped mainly. I only watch it with like one friend at this current point as speaking. But 2010s, oh man, I was really hyped into it. And I get the question, like, granted, it's the tick in my brain that's like, oh, well, let me talk about that for a minute. One of the big things that I love about Twitch is my community, right? Oh my god, people hate when I bring up wrestling. People hate it. Be like, oh my god, wrestling is so fake. So fake. Like, why do you watch it? And it's funny to me, because it's just like, why the hell do you care? Why? And it's so like that's their stubbornness, where they're just like, oh, I'm not gonna put myself in my shoes to see why he likes it, where I'm just like, first of all, it's called scripted. Second of all, it shouldn't matter what I like and what you like, because it's all entertainment. You think movies are real, buddy? You think movies are real? And they're like, oh, well, it's different. How? How is that different? How? The only thing that's mainly different is with wrestling, they actually feel the pain while most actors don't. So, yeah, that's pretty much scripted for sure. I think movies are way more scripted than wrestling, but I digress. So, we're at Dogma right now. But if you did enjoy the rant, please do tell me in the comments down below, because that helps a lot on what you want me to talk about. And like I said, we're 8 days, 7 days away from the new year. Please do consider staying subscribed or subscribed and checking out the links down below. Or if you don't want to click that stinky link, go ahead and basically follow me on all media. It's Mr. Joe Wilde, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and go watch me there. And the good thing is, I had no idea that we got an Alge's room. This is the farthest I ever made it with the Lost, by the way. But yeah, if you want to, great. We are doing some challenges, giveaway challenges as well on the Twitter machine. So if you like free stuff, go ahead. Go ahead. I will be doing something with Isaac as well via challenges. So stay tuned. Strap in, strap on. And it's going to be a fun time. Like I said, 2023 is going to be a very, very fun video for all of us. So I hope you're happy with that. I will be making announcements as well on what future things is, but I can't give up on myself via if you give up on me or not. I can't give up on myself, because once you give up on yourself, then you know that you're officially done. Also, what I realized, that jump attack, I think that's the scariest attack in the game. People may say Dogma's Brimstone. Yo, that is a very terrifying thing right there. But also, Alge's is way better than, in my opinion, than the other card, Holy Blessing, or Holy Mantle card. Very, very scary. But, yeah, stay tuned for all the updates, especially if you do like Isaac. Everything goes a very long way, and never forget that your love is appreciated by me, and I see every comment. So, without further ado, the question of the day. The question of the day, and I didn't even know how I got hit there, just an FYI. I have no idea how I got hit there, but I digress. The question of the day is, what is the hardest challenge of 2022 that you did not give up on yourself on? See, actually, here's where I get scared, because I'm just like, well, maybe resistance isn't as good as I thought, and maybe the card would have been better. But I still think this is shenanigans, in my opinion. But, yeah. I played that really bad. But if you like what you saw and heard today, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.